It is not easy, the cry of an addict. But let me tell you, quitting addiction is possible by PKAB. Once again, welcome and good evening. And the program is Wounds of the Heart. Last week it was intense. And this week we're going to help ourselves to know how best to overcome what we call masturbation. In fact, if you want to join in this conversation, you know the numbers 0559680066. You can WhatsApp us or you can send your text message and we'll read them here for you. If you have any question, anything, today we're going to talk about the effects also and how best we can stop and how best we can help that person to stop. Please, the show is currently live on Facebook. If you know a friend who is out of town or out of the house, you can tell him to go on Facebook Live, Hope TV GH, and just like the page and we'll watch it from there. And also, we can also subscribe to our YouTube page, Hope TV GH. And please, you can also recommend it for a friend who is not around to watch at home. Slick Africa, God bless you for this nice fabric. God bless you. Slick Africa is there for you in case you want any fabric and you can't go to the market. Just call on them. They will bring it to your doorstep. Slick Africa, your number one material shop. Today, my guest is already seated. And as we began last week, Wednesday, today we're going to come your way with another exciting answers to the questions that you have to answer. Please, don't go anywhere. I will be right back. Hi, welcome back from the break. Thank you so much for joining me and thank you so much for being there. In fact, this program would never be a success if you, the viewer, had never been watching. If you want to share your testimony about masturbation, your voice is the most important thing. If you want to come in here for us to cover you up, for people to hear your voice about how best you're able to go through this for you to quit masturbation, you are highly welcome. And we'll just leave your number on our WhatsApp page and we'll call you and we'll arrange with you. If you also want to sponsor this program for us to take it very far, you can also leave your contact on our Facebook WhatsApp platform. We will have time to call you and we'll have the best deal with you. Once again, I welcome you and let me welcome my guest. Also, good evening and welcome to the show.
Good evening, brother.
I trust you're fine.
God has been good.
We are so grateful. Last week, Wednesday, we dealt with the topic masturbation, of which a lot of people, I think, have a lot of questions to ask. And we have some of the questions to also ask. But last week, most of the questions were the effect of masturbation. Please, as a psychologist, as a counselor, as a Christian counselor, let me put it that way, what are some of the effects of masturbation?
Thank you for having me, Pastor. And I think it's one of the most sensitive topics that is discussed around most of the times. And I think that even for the fact that it is mostly discussed means that it comes with its own problems. All right. And for me, that is logic. And so, sorry, I think that masturbation has some daring side effects, which a single person, person who is not married, could carry them to their marriage life in future. Okay. And so I want to say that one of the damning effect of masturbation has to do with the issue of guilt. I have had not one, not two, not three, but quite a number of young people who will go into that habit during counseling session, who will tell you that immediately I finished, the question I asked myself was, why did I do this? So you see, there's that high level of regret and the feeling of guilt, especially in the realm of religion. So for example, a Christian who has been taught all this while gets themselves into this, And you know, it comes back at them that something I shouldn't have done. This is what I have done. And so the sin thing comes into play and makes them feel very terrible. And so there is guilt and there is regret in doing some of these things. And the other thing that I want to talk about is the fact that it also disrupts daily life processes. It also disrupts daily life processes. And so work output for the day is minimized.
How?
You know, so for example, if you sit at the banquet hall or you're a student, and so you would want to walk out of class, find yourself where nobody can find you, and then masturbate and come back. So what would have happened is that you would have lost out in the lesson. You know, so if you stay there for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it is, you would have lost something at the end of the day. If you sit at the banquet hall and there is that urge and feeling for you to go and masturbate, and because there are a lot of people there, you don't have so much space for yourself, it affects your work output. And so you don't really concentrate and all of that. And so it does really, sometimes it does really impede, you know, some of the things that we do. And so
before you come in, those who masturbate will tell you that after masturbation, you can't move. You just sleep or feel fine, and you just wear out, or you sleep at where you are. So even with what you just said, as in distorting the day's activity, if I'm in office and I want to masturbate, I do masturbate. I would never get time to even see to the next people who will be coming to my office. And even if I'm a student too, if I go to my room, that's all, I won't come back. So I supporting that fact that
it is possible.
The day is sport indeed.
It is possible. And you know, those of us who are married and all of that, after sexual intercourse, you know, some people even sleep off immediately. I mean, it's a pump of blood and all of that. So it takes quite a lot of energy. And in masturbating, it will not be too different from that. Even this one, you see, Pastor, why it's even more, it makes you feel so uncomfortable. Because you see, the fact that somebody may be peeping on you, or somebody may bounce into what you're doing, the fear that grips you, that would want you to do it as quickly as possible, and all of that adds to that. And so by the time you finish, you are worn out. And so like you said, you probably go back to the hostel to sleep, or you come to sit in the office, and there's that kind of laziness in you and all of that. Pastor, it brings shame. Shame when you have been caught in the act. When you have been caught in the act, it brings shame. And if you're not able to come back to normal or equilibrium as quickly as possible, it destroys relationship between you and other people. You know, even in the family, when there are issues to talk about, and you want to talk, and they look at you like that, knowing what you practice and all of that, you understand. And so there is shame, there is embarrassment in some of these things when people have gotten to know that you engage yourself in that kind of thing, and it also leads to low self-esteem. Especially with respect to how it has played out with you. You know, when people think that, oh, forget about this man, forget about this lady, masturbating is his hobby and all of that. So it gets to a point in time you are not so confident with yourself when you have to go with your peers, or when you have to make statements, or when you have to contribute to certain things. You cannot do it because of, you know, that stigma that has been attached to you. That's also possible. And you know, there is also that possibility of a decrease in sexual sensitivity. And that's when you have carried this thing into your marriage life, you know, when, and you know, there is, it doesn't follow the normal thing. Pastor, when you speak to people, there's more like a squeezing of your penis. You know, because you're doing everything to bring, you know,
something out from you,
to ejaculate and all of that. And if you are a lady too, it's the same thing. You know, you rub yourself, it leaves you with bruises and a lot of a lot of uncomfortability comes with some of these things that we do. And so socially, psychologically, and physically and emotionally, if you look at these general ones I have given, they fall into their respective places, and they have adverse effect on the individual. And so it is something that it's good to be discussed, because the consequences of some of indulging in masturbating is quite devastating.
All right. So let me put this one through. I had an encounter with a guy who said, also for I masturbate to the extent that blood comes out. And I can't stop. I can't stop it, but I need to do it, and instead of the semen comes and blood follows out. With emotionally, that person feels guilty, as you said.
Sure.
So psychologically, it's an effect. It had that effect on people. And with the family issue you just said, once a family member get to know that this person masturbate, when we are talking about issues in a home, your name wouldn't be mentioned, because family will put you stigma. You don't have sense of
Sure.
Because if you can do this, then why do we bring you in?
Sure.
And last week, as you were telling us about the signs and symptoms,
Sure.
you see, we mostly don't allow parents to enter into their rooms, because all the time the rooms are locked.
Yeah.
And naturally, if something that you normally do as a child of God, or probably as a student, and all of a sudden it's changed, the possibility of your parent thinking of something different about you is higher.
Sure.
So socially, even family members probably will start. So I think that, as you are saying, and as we are discussing masturbating, viewers out there, I don't know, it's a problem not with the youth alone. Last week you heard somebody say he has done it for about 27 years.
Sure.
And today that person will have the result as to how best he can quit. Somebody also said he's now 50 years
and still do it. And so you see, Pastor, the issue of anxiety also comes in.
Okay.
So with this individual who masturbates, and after they have ejaculated, they see blood following. It leaves you with a huge thing of anxiety.
Definitely.
I told you last week of a young man who spoke to me about this thing. And when he's gone to the hospital, he's not able to say exactly what it is, because he tells me that there are sometimes when he's just walking around, fluids are coming out and all of that. And so there's that high level of anxiousness with you, because you don't know what's going to happen, and you are not bold enough to talk about this with them, because the society frowns on it already. Your religious community frowns on it already, and already you are feeling the consequence of shame already, and so you keep it to yourself. And if you are not careful, by which time you are not able to talk about it, it would have gotten to a stage where it could bring so many problems to you and all of that. And so the issue of anxiety also plays in, even in the family.
Okay.
You see, if mom or dad or my wife or my husband gets to know that this is what I engage myself in, and especially in the case of the young people, and honestly, the age bracket, you find a lot of the adolescents, involved in this act more than any other group of people, and even plays out in males more than women. Females, for that matter. And so, for example, if they find you in this act at home, and you have to go to school the next semester, or you have to go to school the next term, you don't know how it's going to play on what you would even get to go to school. Are they still angry with me or not? It leaves you with a lot of anxiety. Probably until your parents are oriented well enough to know how to deal with some of these things. Because ordinary parents will be mad at their children when they, I mean, the first reaction, you know, it will be more reactive than anything. Hey, you know, when that thing happens, then it also brings its own troubles to the young people. And so I don't know how you want to argue, but it's a perversion and it's an immoral thing.
Okay.
You know, but you have a lot of articles around and people bundle this left and right. But like I said from the very beginning, why would a lot of them still feel or have that element of regret
After
and guilt after the act? It goes to confirm that something that if you are doing, even when you're married with your wife and your husband, you're doing, you still go into hiding to do it. So why don't you sleep just beside your wife and do it? You understand?
So if I should get you, anything that is done in hidden, it is not right.
So, those kind of things are done in the dark.
In the dark.
Every bad thing is done in the dark.
Okay. Also, with the effect in marriage, the man masturbate or the woman masturbate. How does it affect their sexual feeling or pleasure?
So it does. You see, Pastor. So if a man and a woman would have to enjoy each other, you know, they don't even care when there is a squabble or there is a fight between them. If I will not have you, I have my own way of doing it. And so you can easily even abuse your wife or abuse your husband. You see, I was doing a marriage counseling, and in my marriage counseling, when I talk about sexuality, I mean sexual issues in marriage, what they should anticipate and everything, I say these two things. That's it. Reason why you should not go to bed with the fight that have gone on within the day are for me two. One, sex has to do with the mind.
Yeah, definitely.
You can't abuse your wife in just about 2 hours.
And
in the third hour, you jump into bed and you want her to open up and do the normal thing and be as romantic as it will not just happen. And then the next one has to do with devotion. If we are fighting, how do we go on the bed and say, let's pray before we sleep?
Oh, come on.
So naturally, you go facing the opposite direction. And you get up in the morning and you are ashamed of yourself and all of that. And so this act, if you indulge in it, certain things in marriage that you would ordinarily have protected, you will do them with ease.
Okay.
Because after all, what? If I don't have sexual intercourse with you, I have a way of satisfying myself. Okay. And that marriage is bound to suffer or hit on a hard rock. If you take those things aside, you know, because if the other partner is not really involved in this act, so what you're telling them is that you are opening the door for them to go outside of the marriage. So if it happens so that I am at a workplace and I have a husband who is into masturbating, or I have a wife who is into masturbating, and for how many months I have not enjoyed, you know, sex with my spouse, and somebody comes, you know, talking and just touch you in a way, you may respond to it. It can happen. Yeah. And so to be on the safer side, some of these things must be pushed away, so that that kind of oneness and the love and the unity that must exist between individuals must also happen. And you know, when there is not that kind of unity and love between them, do you know it has also adverse effect on the children?
Tell us.
So that parental love, because there is always fighting, and it is leaving bad scenes and mental pictures in the minds of the kids already, you know, and so you don't pay attention to them. If mom is not satisfied with what dad is doing, and mom will not come home early to come and cook and help us out with our homework and stuff like that. The same thing with that too. Then the kids will have to suffer some of the consequences of this act. And so, and you know that God, sex in marriage was originated by God. It plays a very sensitive role in the marital relationship.
Yeah. You can't take it away from
exactly.
it.
So once that thing is put in an imbalanced way, it can throw the whole home into some state of confusion and all of that. And so I think that if we make one selfish, and then it will create all of these things around, then we should be mindful engaging ourselves into some of these things.
Then we should be mindful of engaging ourselves in such things. In fact, in case you just joined us, we discussing masturbation. We started last week, Wednesday, and today we want to finish with how best we can quit masturbating. Please, you can tell a friend to tell a friend that the show is on, and that we need to help somebody. We need to help that lady. We need to help that guy, because the guilt after doing masturbating is something else. In case you just joined in, that's the show, Wounds of the Heart. I'm going for a break. When I return, we'll discuss how best I can quit, or you can quit masturbating. Please don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. All right, welcome back from the break. Thank you so much for joining, and thank you so much for being there with me. In fact, without you, this program would never be a success. Also, I have this question from somebody. He said, for him to go back, or for him to get pregnant with somebody, or for him to have sex with a lady or a guy to break his or her virginity, it is good or right for him or her to masturbate. As a Christian counselor, what is your take on that?
And so, from the Christian perspective, I still want to maintain what I have said last week and even the beginning of the show this evening, that it is an immoral act. And you know, you may not find the word masturbation in Scripture, but the principles are very clear. And so if we could read just a few,
no problem,
like Ephesians chapter 5,
all right,
verse 3, for example. When Bibles are not your own, sometimes it will. So Ephesians chapter 5, verse 3 reads, "But fornication and all uncleanness or covetousness, let it not even be named among you, as is fitting for the saints." And so it talks about immorality.
Anything
it talks about impurity and all of that. And don't forget that when we talk about fornication, for example, lusting after a girl, seeing a guy and having a mental picture of them as having something to do with them and all of that, even when you have not done the real and concrete action with them, is termed as fornication. You understand? And so, and how can it be possible that you masturbate without those mental pictures? So you see, the principle is there.
Clear.
Before you would have finished with your masturbation, it's as a result of the fact that maybe in school, there is this girl that you have been watching, you have been lusting after. Masturbation will not just happen. It will not just, even if peers will lead you into masturbation, it's as a result of the conversation that you have.
Exactly.
And him who is teaching you there is a genesis to how he has gotten himself into that in the first place, but for which reason he is introducing you. And so if somebody is teaching you, they will let you have, because you cannot sit down and ordinarily you get you erect and you start doing it. you may have some thoughts in your mind to arouse your sexual edge and your libido and all of that.
Okay.
And so the principle
It's very clear.
is clear there.
Thank you.
Something that we must be careful. And once we say it falls in the realm of immorality, 1 Corinthians 6 verse 18, Paul will tell you that flee
from fornication,
from any kind of sexual immorality. And Colossians 3 verse 5 will tell you to put to death anything that is earthly in nature, including sexual immorality, impurity, lust, evil desires, and greed, which is idolatry. When you take First Thessalonians 4 verse 3, it also tells you about the same thing, that for this is the will of God, your sanctification, that you abstain from sexual immorality, that each one of you know how to control his own body in holiness and in honor. So you see, so right away, the issue of self-control is there.
Definitely.
So like last week I said, yes, in the bracket of the adolescent, it gets to a point where, hormones there's that production of hormones. It's a natural thing.
Definitely.
But in our wiring, God has also given us a high level amount of self-control. And we need to exercise them anytime there is that edge. And so we have something to work against, that kind of thing. So for me, even though we cannot find or we cannot pinpoint it there, the principle is there, and it is very clear.
All right. Also, for another question for you, he said, I'm very prayerful, but I have been doing masturbation. Have tried to stop, but couldn't. I don't do it always, but sometimes it happens. And anytime it happens, I see myself down spiritually. Permit me for not adding my name, please, but I'm 27 years. How can I stop? We're going to talk about how to stop. I'm not doing it out of lust, but I found myself in it for many years now. I have many beautiful ladies who loves me, but I've tried much not to fall in love for anyone till I'm ready for marriage because of my ministry. But for this one, I'm trying very hard. But sometimes I find myself into it. Finally, I have small penis size. How can I get it to be normal size? Please help me. I also advise, counsel, and help people on their issues, but can't solve my own because I feel shy to share. Please help me. Thanks. We're very glad that you drop your name, that we can also have, and we'll talk to you, because the latter part of your question is a little bit touchy, because if you counsel people and you can't talk about own and you feel shy, then which means that thing is not good. Also, I know you deduce a lot of things from his question. Please, can you?
Pastor, honestly, if it were a counseling session, such an individual will be helped to know that, there are causes, there are situations. We see at a point in time he says that I don't last. It is there.
It is there.
And in that write-up, there is also a reason why he's into that.
Definitely.
It has to do with himself looking at his penis.
The size.
As small.
Okay.
And you see, you can't blame him, because such an individual is in a state of quagmire.
Okay.
He's so much confused. And so that individual will not be saying, he can narrate it, but he's not putting them in their perspective. That could be one of the main reasons why he masturbates.
Okay.
That could be one of the main reasons why he doesn't want to get engaged in any lady. Sometimes there is that kind of self-denial.
Okay.
You understand? Okay. And because it's on radio all over, that and recently I saw one lady. I don't know why people do that, but I saw one lady in a video talking about the fact that he's praying. I don't know whether it's, but how can you do this for fun? She's praying to God and asking God that if God is a prayer answering God, He's been good to her. But there's one thing she's asking from God. that his future husband should not have a small penis, so she's asking that the Lord will give her a husband with a big penis and all of that.
Look at this.
And you know, these medicines and drugs all around, penis enlargement cream, penis enlargement pill, penis enlargement this and all of that. And so he's been listening to some of these things, but he's not seen them as one of the causes to his situation. And so if I will be embarrassed when a woman has seen me to have a small dick or something, then let me stay in my corner.
And okay.
And how do I satisfy myself? I have heard that people do this, and this. So let me also engage myself in it. And apart from that, if he's taking time to look at when he does it, he will be able to trace it to something.
Something else.
It's either you watch an entertainment or a musical.
So we'll come there so that you use the step for us to quit. We'll come there because it's very. And I pray that you leave your contact so that we can give you a counselor. Once a counselor, you can also have a counselor to counsel you so that these things can be stopped. Please help me in prayers. I masturbate and smoke. Please help me. All right. I know by the grace of God, after our conversation, I'll call you. I'm sure you've left your number. We'll call you and we'll take it from there. Please, my man refuses to make love.
Pastor, you see, even with the smoking and masturbating thing, there is a connection.
Okay, tell us more.
There's a connection because you see, this nicotine and all of that stimulates you.
That's exactly.
It stimulates you.
Exactly.
You know what? If you have smoked before, the first puff dazes you, takes you to a different world.
I don't want to ask you a question. The way you have explained the first puff there. All right. You're sorry. Pardon me for that. Please, my man refuses to make love with me. Anytime I'm in the mood for sex, he only touches me only when he's in the mood. I don't want to cheat on him due to his action. I started masturbating myself for years now. I'm 9 months pregnant but can't stop this act. Pastor, please, does it have any effect on my body?
You see, so now she knows why she's doing the masturbating. Because the husband is not really giving her what she wants. And the husband does it when he likes it. And to make up for those losses, she's now she's now touching herself and all of that. So that's what we're discussing previously, that when one is into something else and not giving this one the attention, they make up. And that's how they do it. And there are effects. There are effects. We have spoken about some of them. You see, anytime he does it, she has that regret and all of that. And if it becomes an addiction, and these hormones and these fluids that comes into the system is coming almost, and you know, extreme form of everything is very bad.
She's pregnant, 9 months pregnant. She started before getting pregnant.
Exactly. And so maybe those ones, I'll leave that to the medical experts. Definitely. But the psychological and the emotional things are already there. Okay. And so if this individual, if by the grace of God she puts to birth, there is another thing to battle with. And she's mentioned it. She doesn't want to cheat on her husband. And there is that possibility. And she sees it. She sees that possibility. And probably because of two things. One, because she's pregnant. And two, because of the fact that she doesn't really want to do it and will feel guilty cheating on the husband. She's been to herself all this while. Definitely. But the point is that she's asking herself, for how long?
For how long? So, my dear, you can leave your contact. So that we will help you out, or we'll take it from there. It's really important. Thank you for that message. I believe there should be contact for assistance. Yes, but you rather leave your contact. We'll take it from there. Hello, good evening. I'm Kevin from Kumasi. Please, how do you stop it when you become addicted to masturbation? Kevin, we are about to talk about how to quit masturbation. I'm a church member. I have tried as much as possible to put stop on it, both physically and spiritually, but I'm still suffering from it. Please, I need your help or else I'll die in masturbation. has caused my prostate enlargement. All right. We'll teach you how to quit very soon. I'm Mohammed. I wasn't there at the beginning of your program. May I know the health effect of masturbation? Thanks, Mohammed. We've said it, or we've begun with the effect of masturbation, and I think that you will fine tune to get it. Also, please, good evening, Pastor Celestina. Masturbation is my problem in life. I'm married, but I still do it. I need your help. Also, with these questions, how best can I, or the individual out there, quit masturbation?
So in the first place, I want to say that one will have to be deliberate. Mm-hmm. And I emphasize on the word deliberate. Mm-hmm. Make a conscious effort to say that I want to stop. Mm-hmm. That is the first step of overcoming it.
The idea to stop.
The idea to stop is the first, because there are some who doesn't see anything wrong with it, and they are doing it left, right, center, back, and everything. And so you having that mind to stop, so it means that you have accepted that it is an issue to you. It's a problem. It is causing a lot of discomfort for you and all of that. Once you accept it, now you can deal with it. You cannot deal with it when you yourself, you have not accepted it. So it will just be mere rhetorics that I want to stop, I want to stop, I want to stop. But this time around, you accept that it is something that is bringing a high level of discomfort to you and that you want to stop.
All right. Viewers, also wait, I just want them to write it down. Viewers, please, the first thing is to accept that what you are doing is wrong and you want to stop. If you don't have that sense, I can boldly tell you that no one can help you. I can say that. But if you tell us you want to stop, as the messages are coming, then we can help out to help you quit masturbation.
Exactly.
So the first point is the acceptance.
The acceptance.
Beautiful.
Accepting that you have a problem.
Okay.
You have a difficulty. You are involved in an act that you would ordinarily not want to get yourself into. That is the first step that one would have to do. Okay, so we know a lot of the causes. So in trying to stop, you must run away from all the causes.
Okay.
What are some of the causes we have spoken about? One, watching pornography. You must be deliberate in deleting or not visiting all of those sites.
Deliberate.
And so if you have a friend who is sending you pornographic movies, you know, now it's easy for you to download them and to get them to people. Sometimes you are on platforms where people will throw in all these things. And you keep them and you watch them. What are you watching? It has an end result. What are you watching them for? You understand? And so those pornographic movies, nude pictures and materials, pornographic articles and stories, where on the internet you read about somebody who has put it out there that my first time of having sex, my first time of doing this. They are sharing their experiences. And when you read them, they walk you through all the processes. And by which time you have read 1, 2, 3, you're already in the mood. And so every article that promotes it or arouses your sexual instincts and things that you're watching and nude pictures, delete them from your phones. And even when you're on a platform and they come, if you have not downloaded them, it will not be in your gallery. And then again, you have the option to delete them.
Definitely.
And that's why I'm using the word deliberate. Any form of addiction that you want to stop, you must be deliberate to do it, which begins with the acceptance. And then now, because we're talking about some of these things, then now you begin to. And then now, there is also another thing. If you really want to quit, then stop being idle. Stop being idle. Because there is this adage that the devil finds work for the idle hand.
Okay.
So you must you must engage yourself in some activity. So, for example, if you are there and you have that sexual urge and of touching yourself, stimulating yourself, manipulating yourself, whichever word you want to use, get to the open. Get to where people can see you. Get to where people sit in the compound with them, be with them. That is also another way to do it. Another thing is that when you are alone and that sexual thing starts arousing in you, take a walk.
Okay.
Or get hold of your bicycle and take a ride. Even if you are staying alone and you have a car, and yes, petrol is an issue, but just drive around town.
Small one be.
And come back. Because looking at people, activities around it takes your mind off those things. By which time you may have come home and you are feeling sleepy already. And then you pray, jump into bed, and you are gone. And so these are some of the things. And of course, the extreme form, I would say that visit a credible counseling firm. Or have a credible elderly person or a counselor or a psychologist that you want to talk to. Interestingly, we look at people who are having malaria and stuff like that alone to be going to hospital. But you can also walk into the hospital and go see the clinical psychologist. Sorry, almost every facility, render that service where they have psychologists and social workers and all of that in the chaplains and all of that in the hospital. Walk into some facility and begin to talk with them. They will be there for you. And so that is also another option to help you, and then drugs. Drugs that will stimulate you and all of that. That could also be a point. Let me go by their term. If you feel so high and all of that, your nerves are excited. You are drunk. You understand? Your nerves are excited. And you have the urge for woman and you cannot find one and all of that. You end up touching yourself. And for you to have gotten to that point means that you have been doing it gradually. It's just like alcohol. I don't know which alcohol that you will take that you will say small, and you will still be taking that quantity in about a year. It would increase. And so the more you do it, and even with, like the text we have, the other you read a short while ago says that I don't really do it many times.
Many times.
But can you count how many times you have engaged in that in a year?
He has been doing that for several years.
You understand? And so we must abstain from drugs, and because they have that propensity of exciting your nerves and all of that, sometimes it arouses you, how do you call it, sexually.
Definitely.
And you have the edge. And because probably you cannot have anybody, you end up touching yourself. I don't even know which ones I have not added, but these are some of the practical things that I say practical things that you need to put in place so that you'll be able to overcome. So it will not take just a day.
Exactly, that's what I want.
It will not take just a day, and I must be frank. You will need to be persistent with them. Persistently avoiding, pornography, all the things that I have mentioned. And you see, delayed marriage is also part. Yes, sometimes I agree with people. Sometimes being a womanizer is attitudinal. But the Bible is also clear on this. In 1 Corinthians chapter 7, when Paul discusses these things, he says that the only time you would want to stay away from your husband or wife, you must have a consent. And he says, even if it is for you to fast, immediately the fasting is over,
you should do them.
Come back again. That the devil will not what? Tempt you. And so it's I can make inferences with that.
Yes.
So if you are of age and you you want to, you can marry, you have what
All
it takes
to marry.
and everything. What are you waiting for? Because if you don't make every conscious effort to get away from it, what it does is that this is the very thing that is delaying your marriage.
Exactly.
And then you see, people must be confident in themselves and overcome low self-esteem. Yes, because you see, Pastor, when you sit down and you look at yourself and you look at your manhood and all of that, and I don't know, but even in that situation,
said that, yeah.
Talk to a medical practitioner,
Definitely.
go to the hospital,
and ask.
Probably it's a medical situation which can be corrected. You understand? And that also could be a side effect of watching pornography.
Exactly.
That could also be a side effect of watching pornography, because every time you are watching these guys and with these mandingos and all of that people bundle around, and you, so sometimes you look at them and you look at yourself, and probably you are not even, you don't even have a small penis, but you don't know what they have done.
Also, let me come in here.
There are a lot of dynamics to some of these things.
It is his issue. That's probably, as you're saying, there are a lot of things in the site that probably you go on the side and you see the normal size of a penis should be this centimeters. So if you pick a rule and check yours and yours is not that, you might think that it is. But we should know that all these fingers are not equal.
No, not at all.
They are not equal. So viewers out there, sometimes not everything on the net is good for your consumption. Please. When you go to the net, people are writing that their masturbation it's correct, but these messages that are coming tells us that
it's problematic.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Senior. And you made mention of that the pornography. There are even movies that are not pornography, but the sexual scenes
in them alone
are serious.
Exactly.
What happens to that? Should we keep on watching?
No,
because you didn't mention it. You said pornography.
No. Any movie that shows a lot of nudity.
Beautiful.
Is the point I am making.
Exactly.
Sometimes they may not even show nudity per se, but some of these telenovelas that have come, and with all those romantic stories and the kissing and all of that, even that alone leads somebody into touching themselves and all of that. And so we must not be, like you said, we should not be fooled and be deceived into all the things we see and read around.
Definitely.
They may affect us negatively. And for me, Pastor, one of the major causes of masturbation has to do with pornography.
Exactly. We have another segment on pornography addiction.
It's
Thank you
bad.
So much. Yeah, thank you so much. Also, there's another question. There are questions for you. He said, "Thank you very much for this show. We thank you for complimenting us too. I tried stopping several times, but still, I pray to stop right after that. The relapses. Should we get somebody who relapse as working hard to quit masturbation, but then he finds or she finds herself back into the act and stop quick? What should you tell such a person?"
Pastor, let's read a text. You see, 1 Corinthians, let me see if I can get the text, but I'm sure you would know the text. Let me go back. Let me go back. 1 Corinthians chapter verse 12. Corinthians chapter 10.
Is the temptation stuff?
Yes.
10:13.
Yes, that's where exactly I'm going. So verse 13. Verse 13 will say that no temptation has overtaken you except such as is common to man. But God is faithful, who will not allow you to be tempted beyond what you are able. But with the temptation will also make a way of escape, that you may be able to bear it. And so I'm just saying that, one, the text we read before tells us that we have that thing in us, self-control, which must be ignited.
Exactly.
Apart from that, these are very tempting things. But if we rely on God he would, with the same temptation, make a way of escape for us.
Exactly.
And of course, for me, that would have been I was saving the best for last. That in this struggle, God is a major factor
Exactly.
in overcoming some of these sexual immorality.
Okay.
And so, yes, that thing is there.
All right.
Yes, you may pray. I believe so much in prayer and all of that. But there are things. You pray every time in the morning, God, I want to stop masturbating. And you're always watching pornography.
So when you pray, you act towards your prayer.
Exactly.
Okay.
It must be backed by that.
Okay.
Otherwise, you would say it today. It's just like New Year resolution, Pastor. This year I'm not going to drink.
Okay.
This year I'm not going to do what? But still, by 5th of January that same year, you have started.
Although somebody asked a question and told us something about what you just said on pornography. He said, I'm Emmanuel Adevo. I have been in this act for 10 years now. Please, I want to stop. Emmanuel, we've said a lot about how to quit. It was pornography that made me start it.
Yes. Pornography. And people also deliberately introduce people to it.
that. Okay, especially
so
with the boys'
peer
school
thing.
coming. The peer, okay.
Yeah, so the peer thing.
Okay.
You must also avoid that kind of company. 1 Corinthians 15:33 tells you, do not be deceived.
By
Evil company also destroys our moral life and all of that. And so we must try to abstain from. So if you have a pen drive, which is 8 gigabytes and 5 is full of pornography, you should go deleting all of them. I mean, you must make a conscious effort. I always use the word deliberate. If you're not deliberate about it, it will just be a mere rhetoric, as to why you want to stop, and I want to stop, I want to stop, and you still be as if that God doesn't have the ability to help us.
Also, for my time is up.
This, yeah.
And next week, Wednesday, it will be just questions and answers on masturbation.
Sure.
We are not going to do anything. All the calls, all the text messages, I'll open the phone lines for people to share how it started and what to do. And some questions that we couldn't answer today. Yeah. We're going to have time to just answer questions on masturbation. Also, with what you just said, all the helps or how best we can quit should still use. We should use the same medium to help others who are masturbating. Because if I have somebody who masturbates, I need to let him know these processes. But become honest to yourself in telling someone whom you trust, as a counselor, as an elderly person who is a professional. Be honest and tell the person, today I masturbated. I know you are telling me I shouldn't do that, but today I couldn't control myself, I masturbated. So when you tell that person the same way, being honest with the person wouldn't judge you that go away kind of stuff. He or she will have time to go through with you the strength, because you need that strength to overcome it. Also for Nimakon, I don't know, I can't thank you enough. I know I will have you again for the questions and answers, just to people calling in to answer. And this evening we are blessed by what you have shared with us on masturbation. And viewers out there, please, I know most of the questions that you've asked had not been answered. Next week, Wednesday, we will devote our wounds of the heart for questions and answers, and after that we'll have a prayer with all those who will ask questions or will share a comment or share a testimony about themselves. But then, in case you want to also share your real testimony with us, next week Wednesday you just talk to us. We'll have you here. We can cover your face or whatever, however you want it. Your voice is the most important thing to be heard for somebody elsewhere to have a change of heart and a change of mind in masturbation. Also, for your last word.
And so I would want to encourage the young people out there, and elderly as well, who are struggling with this act, that all is not lost. Yeah. You can still fight this battle and win it.
Definitely.
You only have to be deliberate about it. Pray to God with a contrite heart, a broken heart. And that is what the honesty Pastor Bidiaba talks about. You are honest with God, that God, I really and truly want to stop this. and I need you to help me. Even if it has any form of spiritual dimension, God is more than able to meet us at the very point of this need. And so I would encourage you. You are not the worst of human beings, and you only have to pardon people who have been anxious and judgmental with you. But know that with God, all things are possible. Get yourself busy with activities, and when there is that edge and you need to shun a lot of things, use every effort in touching the delete button on your smartphone.
Thank you so much.
That is your surest secret, and it will be well with you. Apart from that, you have the opportunity to call in here at Hope TV Ghana and speak to the pastors and counselors in the building, and that will also do a lot of help to you.
Exactly. Also, thank you so much, viewers. Thank you so much for being there throughout the program, and once again, help me to really appreciate also for Nana Kofi Nimakon for his enormous help on this show. In fact, he has been a blessing to this show. Also for is a marriage counselor, a Christian counselor, a counseling psychologist. In fact, he's everything. He's a guide for the youth, young adults. He's also a chaplain. So any aspect you want him, he's there for you. And in case you want to sponsor this program, Wounds of the Heart, please drop your contact and we will call you so that we talk with you as to how best we can bring a lot of people or go a long way to help somebody who don't have the access to see a psychologist. And also, Slick Africa, God bless you for this fabric. God bless you for this fabric. And in case you want Slick Africa, you can go Facebook Slick Africa, Instagram Slick Africa, and Alpha Art. God bless you for my flyers. God bless you. God bless you. If you want to share a testimony, as I said, drop your contact and we will take it from there. I have been your regular host, Pastor Daniel, on the program Wounds of the Heart. Next week is another beautiful day. Stay safe. No smacks. Don't forget about it. And we're going to meet. I'm out.